everyone. Welcome to this American Bakeries Association event. Today we'll be hearing how one of the world's leading baked goods manufacturers went from having very little usable data to using advanced industrial artificial intelligence and dramatically reducing waste in just a few months. To take us through that journey, we are joined by Giovanni Ballerini. He's the Vice President of Global Manufacturing Strategy and Global Capital Planning at Barilla. Thanks for joining us, Giovanni. Could you please tell us a bit about Barilla and your responsibilities?
Okay. Barilla is a worldwide company. I think it's pretty established in the United States, despite the fact that he's producing pasta basically and selling pasta today and sauces. But Barilla is a stronger history about bakery product, and especially in Italy, where it started more than 100 years ago, and also in France and in Nordic. You probably know Vosa as the crisp bread company. This is owned by Barilla. So this is why we are here as baker producer. My responsibility, actually, I've been for more than 30 years in the company in Barilla, and so I had all my career in production, taking over more higher and higher responsibility from production manager, plant manager, and then as operation manager, which means for us to manage some plants in our environment. And also I have the responsibility, and in the specific, I'm responsible for the bakery, the Italian bakery, which are 6 plants actually. And also I have a global responsibility about the capital planning. I mean, but in real time, nowadays, till 1st March, I switched from operation to technical development to engineering. But these projects started when I had the operation cap on.
Okay, thank you, Giovanni. I can say that definitely Barilla is one of my favorites, my personal favorites. And now going to our second panelist today, we're also joined by Liran Akavia. Liran is the co-founder and COO of Seebo, whose process-based artificial intelligence solution is used by leading baked goods manufacturers like Barilla in order to reduce production losses like quality, waste, and yield. Thanks for being with us today, Liran. Can you please tell us a bit about Seebo?
Thank you very much, Noah, and Giovanni, thank you very much. I'm very proud to have this event together with you after the journey that we did together. My name is Liran Akavia. I am one of the co-founders and the COO of Seebo. And in short, Seebo is a predictive quality and waste solution. We use data coming from the production line. In order to analyze process inefficiencies, we read the data from the production line against the result, the weight, size, the color of the product, the yield and the throughput. And we help the world-leading baked good manufacturers to run better and more efficient production processes. Seebo is actually answering the 3 most important questions for any manufacturer. The first question is why process inefficiencies are happening. The second one is how to prevent process inefficiencies. And the last one is when is the right time to act. The Seebo solution performs automatically root cause analysis. We provide predictive recommendations, and using proactive alerts, the team knows when is the right time to act.
So thank you for that quick overview, Liran. It's very helpful. Now going back to you, Giovanni, before we get to the topic of artificial intelligence, as someone with very extensive experience in the industry, what would you say the key challenges are today in terms of reducing production losses for baked goods manufacturing, specifically process-related losses, for example, waste due to overweight, size and shape variability, color inconsistencies, quality losses, raw material variances, and so on?
Well, the demand is constantly rising while consumer expectations are getting higher and higher. They expect perfect product every time. And of course, at the same time, the market is very crowded. There is a lot of competition. If a consumer doesn't like the product or doesn't find the product on the shelf, they will go and switch to a competitor. So this is the kind of environment in which we are playing, either in Italy, but we know the market. So the goal for Barilla is to maintain, I have to say, a very high standard quality while at the same time running as efficient an operation as possible to meet the demand and stay competitive. But in the meanwhile, we have also to have a major challenge in maintaining all our KPIs at the maximum level. So I mean, however, I deeply believe that ultimately each KPI affects the other. For example, some people might say that if you tighten your quality standard, that should lead to more waste losses due to scrap and reject, and vice versa. That you can cut waste due to scrap and improve quality at the same time. But I disagree. When you improve the process and make it more efficient, you do it properly, that should impact everything. If you do it properly, they should impact everything. So while the quality is increasing, losses are going down. Another, in my opinion, very relevant example is about overweight. Overweight losses are purely due to inefficiency at the factory. There are no or minor outside influences. So it's therefore the leading indicator of the performance of the plant overall. Finally, in terms of challenges in the history overall, there are also some high expectation for continuous improvement. You need to keep getting better and better and better. And this is a real challenge because at some point you hit a glass ceiling. And that's where artificial intelligence can really help.
That's actually a very interesting point, Giovanni. So, Liran, can you build on Giovanni's last point about AI? From your experience in working with baked goods manufacturers, what role can artificial intelligence play in enabling manufacturers to push the envelope further and reach a new level of efficiency that they couldn't reach before?
Certainly. So, the baking good processes and manufacturing processes in general are very complex. There are hundreds or thousands of different parameters that affecting dozens of KPIs. At the end of the day, the process experts and the operators are interested to run an efficient production line. And they are not only interested in local optimization. So we are not only interested to improve the weight. We are not only interested to improve the color. We are not only interested to improve the throughput. We actually are interested to find the optimum point between the weight, the color, the throughput, the size, and deliver as much products as we can to the market while they are all in a perfect shape. That makes the manufacturing process and the work on the production line ultra complex. Actually, I am as a process expert or operator need to maintain knowledge and understanding of hundreds of different parameters to optimize dozens of KPIs. And exactly here, artificial intelligence goes into the game. Artificial intelligence is not replacing people. Artificial intelligence is not a magic wand. Artificial intelligence is a powerful tool that stands next to the humans and helps them to take better decisions, help them to make the decisions quicker, see a bigger picture, and by that, run more efficient production. There is another great advantage for that, which is keeping the manufacturing knowledge. Instead of having one person learning something and then working hard to distribute the knowledge to other people, here is a computer, an algorithm that is learning the production process, deeply understanding what is required to run a good production, and later distribute it to the different people.
That's a great point, Liran. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Barilla's specific business case. Giovanni, you chose to start at a specific production line, the Rubiano bakery, right? Why did you choose that line specifically?
The Rubiano bakery line was the ideal place to start because it answered to some key criteria. The value of the scrap is high, so the potential financial benefit of improving the waste level was significant. The second point is about scalability potential. This is one of several Rust lines at Barilla, so once we proved that the value, we could roll out straight away to other lines. The plant team is another crucial ingredient. You need a team that has a data-oriented mindset. Whenever you're implementing artificial intelligence, you have two choices basically. One is go for the data ignorant team first, in which case you will see value because you are taking them from zero, or go for the data oriented team. We prefer to start here because that's where the truest potential for artificial intelligence can be seen, by taking them to the next level of the process efficiency.
Okay, that makes sense. So on the Rubiano bakery line, what specific challenges were you trying to tackle, and what benefits did you see from implementing AI?
So the Rubiano bakery plant produced fette biscottate, rusk, a very popular breakfast food in Italy. So there is a high demand, and we produce hundreds of pieces of rusk every minute at this time. In order to ensure the highest possible quality, we installed a state-of-the-art vision system, which provides us real-time data on the quality of each product. And from this data, we also gain a sharper understanding of the amount of waste on the line, which was significant. Our team did some really amazing work in reducing losses. They are really among the best in the industry. But at the same point, there were losses, particularly in waste, where it was impossible to find the root cause of. And I mean, humanly impossible means that human being can only analyze one variable at a time, maybe two, but not more. Many of the losses are caused by multiple variables that are constantly changing. And artificial intelligence gives you multi-variable analysis that human being can't do. Also, at Barilla, we are always striving for continuous production excellence, superior quality, waste reduction, sustainability. So we decided to look at a new way to take our performance and to the next level, leveraging on advanced analytic and artificial intelligence solution. What about the benefit? The major benefit of artificial intelligence was, for us, was revealing the hidden causes of production losses due to waste. As I mentioned, we all know that baked good manufacturing is uniquely complex. There are also so many interrelated points and data tags on the line: the speed conveyor, the heat, the oven, how it takes to cool the raw material, buffers, and so on. So many times the losses are caused not by one or two of these factors, but by a lot of different interrelated set point and data tags. And no human being in the world can pick up on this combination, but artificial intelligence can. And once we got the right data and we use Seebo's artificial intelligence, we're able to reveal the hidden causes of those losses. And just in few months, we reduced the waste, the total losses by 37%, which the combined effort of our team and Seebo system. Because we know that we now knew that why these losses were happening, we could prevent many of the incidents before they occurred. An important point that I have to underline is that in any project like this, there is always a spotlight effect, because the company is suddenly focusing more on a certain area. But the spotlight effect is very short term. The real measurement of success is after first few weeks, because the goal is long-term improvement. One of the biggest long-term benefit is that now we are managing certain variable in a completely different way. In fact, using artificial intelligence, we learned of some crucial variable that we had never even focused on before, because we didn't think they were significant. They weren't even and any ones rather. Suddenly we not only understand that they are very crucial, we also know how to manage them to get a better result.
Okay, so basically you took a production line with very little usable data, and in just a few months you not only built a robust data infrastructure, you actually rolled out some pretty advanced AI and have already significantly reduced waste losses. So could you take us through this journey from the beginning? I mean, what were your initial thoughts and feelings about artificial intelligence, and how did they evolve along the way?
Well, yeah, at first I must admit that it was quite skeptical. Not necessarily the intelligence itself, but about how applicable it was to a production line like ours. I was under the impression that without a robust pre-existing data infrastructure, industrial artificial intelligence just wasn't relevant, and we didn't have much data at the time. I was sure that building a data infrastructure would be a very costly and lengthy process. This particular production line has been running since 1985. So while it isn't our oldest line, is also not the newest. There are some different PLCs, some others, some older, some newer, but basically I wasn't convinced that it was ready for something as advanced as artificial intelligence. Well, it was Seebo, and actually specifically Leon, who convinced me that it was possible. And in fact, it was Leon and his team basically guided us through the process, and within a very short time, we had enough of the right data to start using the advanced analytics. I was pleasantly surprised. Yes, it takes some effort, but in the end, the benefits far outweigh the costs.
So what would you say to baked goods manufacturers who are in a similar position right now like you were, that they don't have much data or even any data at all, and as a result, they aren't sure if AI is relevant for them?
Well, first of all, of course, you need data. And of course, you don't have a robust data infrastructure. It does take time, effort, and money to build one. But the fact is that this is the way the industry is going. Artificial intelligence, machine learning is the future, and data is absolutely one of your most valuable assets if you wish to remain competitive. So we really don't have a choice. In today's world, we have more data than we can ever process and understand. But if you want to solve a problem, you need to take all the data available into account. What's more, you can't take artificial intelligence has the potential to take to the next level. It is a lot less complicated and costly than you think to get the right data. We were up and running in a few months. Finally, this is perhaps the most important tip. It is critical to build your data infrastructure in a strategic way. Specifically, don't try to get all the data. You don't need all the data. And doing it that way does run the risk of getting complicated and potentially costly. The key is to first build a clear business case and then figure out what the data you need in order to address the business case. Starting at the goal of achieving a new level of excellence is really important, as it will motivate people and drive the changes you want, not just data analysis for the sake of it. Another important point is not only to collect the data, but to validate it as well. There's no point having data if they are incomplete or inaccurate. So it needs to be done properly. And when it comes to artificial intelligence, the saying goes garbage in, garbage out. If your data is not good, then the insight won't be any good either. So we did have some data available from PLCs, but no view of the historical trend and correlation. And in particular, if you're starting a project and think that you need new data that you don't have yet, then validation is crucial. And with Seebo, for example, they have a process where they take all the relevant data unified and clean in a single and multi-source schema. This makes it much simpler and much more reliable.
Okay, so if I can summarize what you're saying, it seems like having a clear business case and a strategy is really the key here. So Liran, going to you, could you elaborate on that point for our audience? You've worked with many leading manufacturers on this. Are there any best practices you've seen for building a data infrastructure and rolling out AI or other advanced technologies on top of it?
Yes, certainly. We generally see two main strategies in the market. One strategy, we call it the horizontal strategy. This is where you build the layers of data and advanced analytics through the entire organization. So imagine a manufacturer would first go and connect all the PLCs in all the organization. Only then, after completing the entire organization, they would create a second layer of data visualization. data visualization through the entire organization. And only then the manufacturer will do advanced analytics. While the opposite strategy that we see, we call it the lighthouse strategy. And I think that Barilla is a tremendous example of the success of this strategy, where you take a production line and you build the layers one after the others on this production line. You do the data extraction, data visualization, and full analysis on one production line. This strategy, unlike the horizontal strategy, has quick ROI. Within a few months, you simply see savings and you get the payment back. It's if you do a mistake, you do a mistake in a small scale instead of big scale. You learn, and after the first learning, you can scale fast to the rest of the organization. Another important thing is not all lines are equal. Not all lines has the same problems. Not all lines has the same data structure, and not all lines require the same treatment. Now, if you try to do the horizontal strategy, you will treat all the lines more or less in the same way till you run the advanced analytics. But if you do it from the lighthouse point of view, when you focus on a specific line, you would see the business case, you would see the business goal, you would collect only the relevant data, only the data that is required to solve the problem, and that would be the most efficient way to reach the business goal. So if I sum it up, we see majorly two strategies, the horizontal strategy and the lighthouse strategy. And from our point of view, and we can definitely see that based on the success story of Barilla, we recommend on the lighthouse strategy.
That is a really interesting methodology. So Giovanni, what lessons did you learn from this process about artificial intelligence, and what recommendations can you share with the baked goods manufacturing executives in our audience?
Well, there are several. Firstly, as I said about the data, you need focus. Artificial intelligence isn't a magic wand. To get a real value, you need to have a business case, understand the problem, and then choose artificial intelligence solution that can address the specific problem. Secondly, I think that Liran was absolutely right earlier. Having a strategy to roll out the artificial intelligence is critical. And the lighthouse strategy that Seebo recommended is, in our experience, the best way. You take a line that has a significant losses and potential for major saving, used as that as a proof of concept, and go from there. Don't try to roll it out at once. Another important piece of advice is to understand that AI is an iterative process. You learn the algorithm, you learn, and you keep cycling back to optimize more and more until you see the kinds of results we got. It's not that you shouldn't expect to see value. We saw value quite quickly just after a few months, but it doesn't magically solve everything overnight. By comparison, when you buy a new machine after a month or two, you know if the specifications are not right or not. But with artificial intelligence, the bar is constantly rising. You can assess the success of the project after 1 or 2 months. You need to grow with it. The algorithms are constantly learning, and each time as it gets sharper, and you are raising the bar. These expectations need to be clear from the start. It's crawl, walk, run like a child. Another important point is to understand that not all artificial intelligence or machine learning is the same. There are a lot of great technologies out there, but because focus is so important, you need to be sure that the technology you are looking at is actually designed for your use case or even your industry. For example, as we said, baked good manufacturing has many unique complexities, and artificial intelligence algorithm that just look at the data but doesn't have embedded expertise about the baked good manufacturing process. That's some of the reason we went with Seebo, because they are an AI vendor that actually specialized in this area. And you need an AI vendor that is focused on your goal and business need, who share a common language with you. Another point is about data is great. Artificial intelligence is great, but you need to be able to turn those insights into action. So you have to make sure that a AI tool or solution you use is actually usable for the team on the line, your process expert and production team. If it's built for data scientists only, that we don't have, then in the end your team won't use it, and no matter how great it is, you won't see any value. So usability is key. For example, today at the Rogliano plant, Seebo solution has become an integral part of the day-to-day work and operation for our team. That's the kind of value you should expect from an IA vendor. Something that is very usable, which create less work for your team, not more work like learning to use a complex data science platform and so on. And finally, I never asked the team how much scrap did you reduce. I only asked them what the impact been on your daily work. Are you adding new relevant variants that we didn't know before? The answer to those questions are the real way to know if the system is being utilized properly in your team, in your team's daily life. And that's how you know you are getting value.
That's a very great answer with a lot of interesting points that are relevant for our audience of executives. This is a time when I thank you all very much. Thank all of our panelists. Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you, Liran. Thank you all. Have a great day.